No way. Could it be happening again? A diamond in the rough for the Orioles? Is this man, Rodolfo Martinez, the new diamond in the rough? Hello, everybody. I'm Jon Leiberman. Spring training, the real games, the real stuff, kicking off this weekend. We're going to get to the starting pitcher. We're going to get to who is this guy, Martinez, that is suddenly creating all of this buzz. We're going to give you the latest on what really went on behind the scenes with Anthony Santander, and also the latest on Felix Bautista as well. This is Orioles Digest. Please like, subscribe, do all the things. We have you covered all season, which starts basically now. The starting pitcher for the Orioles this weekend against Pittsburgh in the first spring training game is Albert Suarez. What is Suarez? Suarez was nothing short of a diamond in the rough for the Orioles, a Rule 5 guy who traveled the world and then miraculously landed, made his way through the farm system, and did amazing things for the Orioles. And if we look at the stats, 32 games last year, particularly in the front half of the season, Suarez was an absolute stud. 133 innings, 108 that he struck out, a sub-4 ERA, 6'3", 35 years old. This was a guy that made magic for the Orioles last year. I mean, he posted, this 3.7 ERA in 32 games, 24 starts. That was after he spent the previous 5 seasons in Japan and Korea. So, you may ask yourself the question then, who is the next diamond in the rough? Let's look at this headline from the Baltimore Sun. Martinez, a real eye-opener on the mound early in Orioles camp. Who are they talking about? Well, he's 6'2". He's a 200-pound righty. He has the long dreadlocks, very recognizable, and his name is Rodolfo Martinez. Why has he impressed? How has he impressed? What does Brandon Hyde have to say about him? Let's talk a little bit about Rodolfo Martinez and whether he is indeed the next diamond in the rough for the Orioles. Taking a look now, let's look at, first of all, when he signed with the Orioles, this was his quote. There were several teams, including the Yankees, but I decided to sign here because I felt like I had a good opportunity to perform and help the team win. What has he done in spring training right now that has impressed Brandon Hyde? Well, here's what he's done. We're going to call it up. This is Brandon. You never want to get overly excited in spring training, but when a guy's throwing high 90s with a high split like that and a slider he can throw for strikes, that certainly does open your eyes. And then in addition to all of that, there was this tweet from Jake saying that a right-handed pitcher to potentially keep an eye on, Rodolfo Martinez. Maybe the 30-year-old Dominican could be the Albert Suarez of 2025 for the O's. And if you look at the video, it's Martinez striking out, Samuel Basallo swinging during live batting practice. So super interesting. We looked into the background of Rodolfo Martinez a little bit, and it's actually quite fascinating. He signed with the Giants out of the Dominican Republic in 2013. 6 seasons in San Francisco's system. He climbed as high as AAA, where he made 1 appearance back in 2019. The high A numbers were solid, sub-4 ERA in 100 appearances. Less so in Double A. He struggled in Double A, a 6+ ERA, and he also struggled in AAA as well. Then COVID happened, and he got cut, and he spent the next 4 years. This is similar to Albert Suarez. He spent the next 4 years pitching in the Dominican Republic, in Japan, and in Mexico. Now look, before we get too excited about a couple batting practice sessions, we need to put out there his numbers were not great overseas. A 6 ERA and 19 relief appearances in the Mexican League, then a 5.2 for 14 games in the Dominican. So the numbers are nothing to write home about, if you will, but many scouts saw something in his stuff. So his numbers haven't been good, but nobody has questioned his stuff. A fastball that can hit 100, a high slider that he can get over the plate. He has a lot of weapons, and it's the stuff that made the Orioles, in addition to the Yankees, in addition to a number of teams in the National League, really interested in Martinez. So it'll be fascinating to see what happens. Obviously, very crowded, lots of depth pitching staff right now. So if Martinez were to get slotted in somewhere, you're looking somewhere in the bullpen, probably later in the season, should the Orioles need reinforcements. Of course, there's always injuries and things like that. And so that's where he could slot in. But this is absolutely somebody to watch as we continue through spring training, for sure. Moving on to a couple of other issues as the season kicks off. We mentioned that, obviously we have all the young stars. We told you in the last episode about Anthony Santander. He signed 5 years, $92.5 million with Toronto. It turns out the Orioles offered him 3 years. We're not entirely sure of the money, but somewhere 3 years in the $50 million range, most likely. He turned down the Orioles. The Orioles didn't ever counter when he signed with the Blue Jays. So he declined that offer, didn't meet his asking price. We wish nothing but the best for Anthony Santander, but we're starting to get some nuggets about what happened behind the scenes. Speaking of nuggets, something to watch early on in spring training, Felix Bautista and the health of Felix Bautista. Is the mountain back? Is he fully healthy? He has looked good thus far in the very short sample size that we have. The week that we have, he's looked very good. But let's watch him in live pitching, because as Felix Bautista goes, the Orioles go. And if they can have that shutdown stopper, that back of the bullpen beast, then the Orioles could fly high this year. Please like, subscribe. We're going to be here all season. We're going to monitor the progress of Rodolfo Martinez and all of the Orioles' other players and huge young core, lots of depth in the pitching staff. We will talk to you soon.